specifically Chris Testa, right? This is one of our A hires who brought in Josiah, who was one of the head of he was the head of Google's Java algorithm program. And so, you know, our team are kind of those simple kind of how do we get to the beachhead, how do we hold our position, like how are we going to grow, you know, A's hire A's, you know, B's hire C's. We did a really good job. This gentleman right here is now our CEO. This is Arnie Singh, and we hired him from Fox. He was the COO of Fox Audience Network, which is, he built it from 2 employees, himself and Adam Bain, to, I believe it was 180 employees, 250 million in revenue within 4 years. And so the Series A, the simple premise of like, why are we here? You know, what are we doing? How are we going to get that next step? How are we going to get the water? You know, where's the shelter? Where's the food? It was all a people challenge, right? In terms of getting the right people on. And now we're simply executing the strategy that we put in place in the beginning. Yeah.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
So we don't, like, during each phase.
Mm-hmm.
What percent of your startup capital was the launch event? Like that must have been 100 grand or 200 grand.
No, it was tiny. It was, I think we spent 10 grand on the entire launch. And that's including the cheese bar and wine that we served afterwards.
Really?
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of, so there's a couple tricks to finding good launch events. If there's an event without a sponsor 3 weeks away, it's a good indicator, right? Like that you can get in there, because a lot of people don't want to have an event without a sponsor, or at least they don't want you to know that there wasn't a sponsor. And that's, I think that's exactly what we did. Was we just kind of looked around and said, hey, you know, here's a situation, sense of urgency. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, I know our expenditures were really, really small on our actual launch party.
What's the as far as the first people you signed up, because this is kind of a new concept, is it an exclusive contract with Lamar Odom that Lamar can't do this anywhere else?
Yeah, so it's non-exclusive. Anyone can work with them, and there is a cottage industry that says like, hey, we're going to do this one deal with you for, you know, $500,000, and you're going to endorse this for 3 weeks, and that's fine, right? What we do is, you know, we offer marketers hundreds, thousands of people to choose from, and it's opt-in, opt-out for the celebrity. So the celebrity never has an obligation, so they don't have to approve. And everything we offer them is saying, hey, look, we're paying you this much money to say yes to this message, right? It's a really simple value proposition. And the reason why we didn't create exclusives is because once you create an exclusive, you basically have to guarantee a certain amount of revenue, right? So we said, hey, we want the exclusive for 2 years. Well, it's worth this much, so we want this guarantee, right? So opt-in, opt-out, non-exclusive, no guarantees, no commitments, very simple. And it's that value proposition of all you'll ever have to do, all we'll ever ask you to do is say yes, and that's it. And it's, you know, celebrities like when checks keep coming each month, especially when they literally don't have to get out of bed. Yeah. Right? And if you think about it, you know, even for a small photo shoot, they have to put on makeup or get in their car or drive somewhere, right? And so to make $7,000, $10,000, $5,000, I mean, there's certain people that make we've paid, you know, over $50,000 a month to certain people, right? That's a lot of money for saying yes. But it goes back to that original problem of there's these massive audiences that are following these content producers, and even though it seems like a lot of money in terms of, it is a lot of money, I mean, to earn $50,000 a month to say yes. But when you think about the efficiency the marketer's getting, it's a bargain, right? We're one of the most effective ways to advertise on Twitter and Facebook, and we're one of the most efficient as well in terms of being able to do something to reach the masses in a 24-hour turnaround, right? It's really hard to do that on the platform's own products, where we can easily do that. So, yeah.
As far as the Angels, the Angel Network, how many how many angels did you go to, and were you turned down before you even started seeing?
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, it's a sales process. You know, so you identify your 30 most likely prospects that you could work with. Like,
And how did you identify? I mean,
well, you want to look at their other investments. You want to look at if they have a specialty, if they're investing in a certain sector, right? If you like, obviously, if you have a finance product, you want to make sure that you're looking at angels that are already investing or having activity in that sector, right? And so we looked at entertainment, internet type of angels, right? People that wanted to create mass consumer plays, and investors that had a past, not only in investing, but actually themselves in our business. And so one of our angels, Robin Richards, was the former CEO of Activision Vivendi. Perfect, exact. He understands our business. He understands media. He understands digital media. And he was a really phenomenal investor for us to have in the angel process, along with Mark Suster, who runs GRP Partners, largest VC firm in LA. And together they were our two angels. We also had Matt Coffin too, who founded LowerMyBills.com.
so you went and found like 30 of them, and out of the 30, you found 2 of them that...
Oh, well, we all had our list, right? Of we said, hey, here's the angels that make sense. Let's go after them. And you do the typical hour pitch with the VC. They're 20 minutes late for the first 20. The next 20 is your pitch, and then the last 20 is your questions, kind of the question and answer section. So we did all of that. The nice thing was about us is that we were working with 2 of the hottest internet companies in the world in terms of a problem we're trying to solve. And at the time, it was just Twitter, actually. Like when we raised Angel, we were just looking at Twitter. And now we're on Facebook, and so because, if you look at the top 3 internet companies, or we'll say 4, just to be fair, Facebook, Zynga, Twitter, Groupon, right? If you look at those and say, hey, our company is doing business with, A and C, or Twitter and Facebook, there's a lot of interest in the space. And so for us, having the right team in place that was a fundable team that had been funded before, that had exits before, is really important, right? It's basically people that have been to the island before and have created the city, sold it, and went on to their next island, right? And that's simply all we're doing, saying, hey, we have our flags. This is our manifest destiny. We're going to put it in the ground and build something great. And that's really crucial when you're in the early financing stages, to make sure you have the right people on the team.
Was the angel did you guys just set up an LLC and give each other 25% of it, the 4 of you? And then just sell off 10%?
No, we used we weighted things based on a lot of different variables.
Not the intricate. I don't want to know.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
But, when the angel wrote the check, what did you give them? Just equity ownership of?
Yeah. So they get equity ownership, and they get early stage equity ownership. And there's a lot of risk that the angels are taking. Right. It's probably the most risky investment for anyone to make. And so when you have risk, you have upside. And so typically the angel round is, it's a pretty healthy, a sizable chunk of the company that they will essentially own for giving you essentially the seed capital to get started. It's a really important round.
Was it a one-page contract, or was it?
Oh no, it was
lawyers on both sides.
Yeah, it's lawyered up on both sides. Full document. And there's true angels. That's you go to Starbucks and they'll write you a check for $100,000. And sure.
They own
these are more like these are more venture capitalists that are almost acting as angels. So whenever you start to go through that phase of fundraising, you have to have a great attorney, someone that's protecting your interest. It's my #1 advice, by the way. Have a really great attorney when you start the process. Attorney that knows early stage investing. It's really important, so the difference between basically what the deal is, right? And just simple things like preferred stock versus common stock. There's a lot of things there that you just don't know. In terms of your day-to-day, you typically don't come across a lot of things that you find in a contract for a seed round, right? Or if you even look at the movie The Social Network, if you look at what happened to Eduardo's character, he signed a dotted line thinking that it was from his attorney, and it basically, diluted his shares to nothing. The movie, has a big, part of that. But going back to one of the best pieces of advice I could potentially give is have a great attorney.